So any one particular premises case, you may have more than one standard. This standard is gold, F1637. Okay, the F is the committee. F16 is the book the books that are being passed around. The standard is F1637-95, which means it was initially promulgated in 1995. It has been updated several times over the years, but the only substantive update from 1995 till 2007, which I think is being passed around, is that ASTM made a move to consolidate definitions into one section of the ASTM standards. So what I'm going to tell you now is the same thing that's been around since 1995. It's the same thing that's in place now. This will establish your reasonable standard of care. It is applicable to all pedestrian walkways. And what that means is a pedestrian walkway is a parking lot, it's a sidewalk, it's anywhere you can reasonably expect a person to be walking. Now, if it's an unimproved path or a nature trail or something, it does not apply. Okay? So basically, it applies to everything, any place that you can reasonably expect a person to be walking. And the code or the standard actually acknowledges that, hey, conformance with the rules, that's great, but it still may not alleviate all hazards. Therefore, this is a minimum standard of care. It's not an exclusive standard of care. It's the minimum that should be performed. It is applicable to all slips, trips, and falls. When we're talking about changes in level, deviations in a walking surface, and I'll go through in detail exactly what these are. Surface hardware, stairs. Stairs are differentiated between general and short flight stairs, and we'll see some examples of short flight stairs. Short flight stairs are 3 steps or less. If you've got 3 steps or less, you've got to have handrails, visual warnings, cues, that type of thing. Speed bumps. Interesting thing about speed bumps, and I've done some speed bump cases. Speed bumps and wheel stops should be designed out. That's really what the standard says. We should design these things out because they are hazards. And we'll talk about how and why they are hazards. Gratings. Gratings have to be level. And after all this is done, you still got to warn. So here we've still got that proof matrix or trial theme. We've got the rule, and we've got the choice, and we've got the violation. Now, walkways have to be slip resistant. ASTM, and we'll go through this, has a ton of different standards on how you determine what is, in fact, slip resistant under expected environmental conditions. Okay, it rains in Indiana, right? And we get snow, and sometimes when we have ice, we put salt on there. When salt gets tracked in or water gets tracked in, it has to be slip resistant. So that is what it is. Painted walkways are interesting too. You know, you see across the street here, you have to have it either cross-cut, meaning that they put indentations into the walking surface or into the roadway. How often do they do that? They don't, for the most part. So they're supposed to use slip-resistant paint, and that's basically an additive or sand that's added to the paint to make it slip-resistant. How often does that happen? Very, very infrequently. Changes in elevation are impermissible. The reasonable human expectation and the minimum standard of care requires a flat, level walking surface. Again, if you don't design out, you got to fix it. Then you got to warn.